Well, we know one mom who might be getting a big breakfast in bed for Mother's Day, Angelina Jolie, mom of 6. But interestingly enough, she has admitted that for a long time she didn't want to have children, she didn't want to get pregnant, she didn't grow up raising, helping out with other kids, babysitting, none of that. She told the Associated Press recently she never thought of herself as someone who would become a mom until the age of 25. She was shooting a film in Cambodia, and she started to consider it. A few years later, she went back there on a mission with the UN, felt that her child was in that country. 2 years later, adopted her first son, Maddox, from Cambodia, and the rest, as you know, is history. But did it surprise you when you heard that about her? Because she struck me as somebody who had always been sort of Mother Earth, you know?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, she was in a different place in her life, and I like the honesty that she brought.
I love the
because
honesty.
We all have thought about that in our lives, like, do I want children? I don't know. I'm like, so I like that she's being honest, and she's not afraid to...
I always thought I wanted children, though.
I always thought that, too, but the older I get, the more I kind of question myself, and I still want children, but every other day I'm like, wait, but can I have children right now?
I was the converse of you. I like younger. I sort of identified
like her.
Angelina Jolie. I was nervous. I was scared. I was like, I never had been around kids. I was the youngest. I have a niece and nephew, but I could leave them. You know, I wasn't responsible for anyone. And funny, I just didn't feel responsible enough. And as I got older, when I turned 35, I think I had this moment. I said, I think I'm ready. I was confident in myself. I think I was financially a little bit more secure, but I was confident with my mate, my husband, and I really wanted to have kids. And it's, you know, it's sort of like you rise to the occasion, which I didn't think I would, and you do.
Yeah.
I think all women do.
It's always, like, I've always wanted to have children. I want babies. I'm almost gonna steal a baby from a hospital one day, I can tell you. It's coming, I'm gonna get it.
Don't mind.
But I want babies, but then somebody who doesn't really want babies, and they have a pack of kids, and it's like, oh, give me those kids, I want those kids, I want those kids. You know, because
I made a decision, you said, that by the age of 40, or at 40, you were going to have a child.
Yes, by 40, I'm gonna plant it. Hopefully it grows.
Are you freezing your eggs now?
Well, I don't. See, I eat frozen dinner, so I don't want to have frozen eggs and frozen dinners at the same time. But right now, my cats are my babies, and that's the problem.
And you're good
well,
with
that's
them.
okay.
2 lonely women that clap because they got cats also.
But I also love what you said, too. You know, if you're not able to, have a kid, you want to adopt, and I love that. I think that is...
Lillian, what about you?
I think what was so beautiful about what she said is, and I always say this, I think being pregnant doesn't make you a mother.
Right.
I think that you can be a mother in so many different ways, and I love that she's such an advocate for adoption, and I think women find their children however they find them. Every journey is so different, and I love having her say that because there's so many women out there that can't have children and have a hard time having a child. And you see this woman raising this beautiful family and doing it, she did it naturally once or twice and she's adopted. And I think there's so many ways. So I don't think that just giving birth makes you a mother. I think being a mother is raising a child and being present for that child.
Yeah.
6 kids, man, though.
No, 6 kids.
6 kids. I applaud her. That's a lot. That is a pack.
But being a mother, I can't wait to be a grandmother because then I can hand them back. Knowing what you go through as a mother, it's so nice. You can love them to death and then...
I call being a grandparent like binge grandparenting because you can smother them and then you're like, see you later, all sugar hide.
Exactly.
Back to the parents.
Oh, so what do you do when a child misbehaves? Do you give him or her a timeout? That seems to be conventional wisdom. Well, a psychologist for ParentingSolutions.com says timeouts are not the best way to get your child to behave. Dr. Laura Markham argues that timeouts put kids on the defensive, so real remorse is less likely. They never learn how to really regulate their emotions because you send them off to another room. You don't work it through with them. It creates these power struggles between child and parent, so they're constantly doing this, and the kid feels ashamed. So she suggests, instead of timeouts, time-ins. Okay, hear me out. Says if your kid is acting out, let's say they're ripping the pages out of a book or whatever, you say, that behavior is not acceptable, but I understand you have emotions right now, so let's go to our chill-out spot, and I will hug you.
Okay, we all know this, Meredith.
And Meredith, she says if you do it for a month straight, all you naysayers, that your child will learn that you respect his or her emotions, that you don't disregard them, and that you are there for them. You're at least physically in the same room, and they will behave better.
But how tight do you hug them? Till you choke them out?
The sleeper.
Probably I like this.
Well, Mary, you were saying in in a meeting this morning. Sometimes, and I applaud you because this is true, sometimes for a parent, a timeout is a timeout for the parent.
Oh, it was always
because
for
you
me.
want to rip their head off a little bit.
It was never for them. It
Yes.
was, I have to get away from this kid before I do something.
Yeah. And so I agree with what she's saying. It's so hard in the moment because you're at your last thread.
Right,
You want to scream to the hilltops. But my husband and I differ on this. He does timeouts and he shuts the door and I get very upset. I'm like, leave the door open. Let's go talk to her. And I understand both styles because you don't want the kid to go off the handles, but you also want to empathize with them because they're having a tough time, especially little kids. They can't communicate. So they just act out and they scream if they can't talk.
I don't believe in negotiating with a child, first of all. Nobody negotiated with me, and I turned out to be a great human being.
But
no, because you can't negotiate with just all of this, the preamble. But it's all of this time. Listen, first of all, my mother had this look that she would give you. And you knew you sat down. There was no conversation unless every now and then she would have a long conversation with me. I go, please just spank me because I don't want to hear all of this. But you have that look. And then my grandmother would give us busy work. So when my grandmother got upset with us, she go, here's a trash bucket. We're gonna play a game called vacuum. And so you knew every time you were bad, you play vacuum. So you be picking up lint up. We had the best floor in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think timeouts are a great thing. I want to have adult timeouts. Like, how many times have you been in a room with your husband and been like, if I could put you in timeout right now, it would really help me get through this situation. So I vote for timeouts for kids and for adults. I might sometimes want a timeout at work.
All right.
You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes.
Get out,
Right.
Sit on the stoop
Well,
over
as
there.
I said, today's show is all about honoring moms, and we love all the moms in the audience. You guys are moms here, mom wannabes. I thought it'd be fun to share our favorite TV and movie moms who we really love. Mine actually is, I'm still so in love with this movie, Eddie the Eagle. And as much as it's about this young man who, first time ever, someone from England is in the ski jump competition in the Olympics because he believes in himself. It's because his mother is there to support him. There she is in the shirt that says, I'm Eddie's mom, watching the action. That's real what happened. And that kind of mom who believes in a child unconditionally and says, you can do it even when everybody else in the world is saying you can't, is my idea of the perfect mom. So I loved her. Yeah. Now, what about you guys?
I mean, I feel like Claire Huxtable raised me on television,
Really?
so if Claire Huxtable and Sally Field had a baby, that would be my mother.
And Yamanika, you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, I love Claire Huxtable. I mean, she could pull a look. What I loved about her, she was classy, but she could also get with you at the same time. And then you would feel like, oh my God, let me straighten the fly. She was a working woman. She was a loving woman. I mean, she just was amazing to me. I loved her.
Yeah.
I really did, that character.
Mine was Judith Light in Who's the Boss. You know, I grew up in Texas, and I grew up in a really conservative state, so most of the moms stayed home with their kids. And I loved the fact that she had a job in the city. She was a modern mom. She was a working mom. And she had a Manny. She was before the trend, you know? She had Tony Danza as her Manny.
And look at that style. Did you learn your style from Judith Light?
Her 80s pantsuits are like, oh my gosh, they give me life. I love that. I love her.
And what are you
I guess I took an unconventional. I liked Susan Sarandon in Stepmom. It's like the unconventional mom where it can take more than one mom to raise a child, and the selflessness in her and how she knew she was going to pass, but she knew that her kids would be loved and she had to go above that. So she just more than herself. I'm getting weepy because it's like, so sweet.
But our
But your favorite
moms.
TV mom is you.
Oh.